Good morning, good afternoon to everyone. Welcome to the X Talks channel. My name is Rudy Shushani and I'll be host for this episode. We go live every week, so make sure to tune to new topics every time. Today, we really have a special guest from the Middle East region, from UAE, coming live, Dr. Hoda Alkhzaimi. I'd like to welcome you directly on this and would really am very happy to have you and to host you on the X Talks.
The pleasure is all mine, Rudy, for you and for your amazing audience and guests. Can't wait to tackle some of the new topics that we have to on this episode.
Indeed, and this episode, I think, bringing a little bit of knowledge and value, most importantly, so that our region can prosper and our region can grab and then maybe fall into the space and try to uplift its skills, uplift its work, uplift its companies, and then most importantly, go to the future. This is very important outcome of this episode. Dr. Huda, if you don't mind introducing yourself, because I know you are quite of a heavy titled oriented person, not because title, because the things that you are involved in and the amount of value that you bring to those organizations. So if you don't mind introducing yourself.
Sure, Rudy. My name is Hoda Alkhzaimi. I'm an assistant professor at New York University, Abu Dhabi at the moment. I lead a center that's called EMARATSEC, focusing on emerging technology, acceleration, and as well investigation of specific concerns as in cybersecurity, AI, and multiple other aspects. I am the director for the Center for Cybersecurity as well. I am the vice provost for research, the assistant vice provost for research, innovation, and translation for NYU Abu Dhabi as well. I lead the Global Future Council on the cybersecurity for the World Economic Forum. But amidst all of these things, I'm just a person who's interested in making an impact and building an impact. I spent the first 12 years of my life working on sovereign wealth fund, where we're very much interested in building new venues for building economic value, diversified away from classical assets. And these assets were assets that are centered around science, technology, research, and development, particularly in fields that could be industrialized in the future. Emerging technology took amazing kind of focus on these assets. This is why I got specialized later on in cryptography. Got my group, who and my researchers and PhDs who are working on building efficient, secure cryptographic hardware, and as well as changing the world for the good, hopefully.
Yeah. And my specialization, especially in the last decade, was governance of technology. This is where I was diving into the space, and this is where I discovered the different aspect of things. Because prior to that, we were focus oriented on some certain technologies, but when you talk about governance, you have to touch every aspect of all of those. So I totally understand what's happening and then how emerging technologies today is playing a role. So, what emerging technologies do you see impacting the UE landscape in the next 5 years? And noting that we're seeing the global aspect of AI taking shape as something we've never seen before. What's your take on this?
I think UAE is doing their best in terms of building a global kind of asset development for research and development. And for this kind of efforts, we see huge focus on not just AI-based technologies, but also on quantum computing, blockchain, on as well autonomous systems. And recently, we've seen also launch a couple of companies on autonomous car drivings and electric vehicles, and on industries that are focused on establishing new materials, space sciences, genomics research, and loads of other bioscientific and life sciences as well research. So I would say, in terms of research and development, we're experimenting with quite a lot, from the new communication systems as well as 5G and others, when it comes to the research and development components, but also from the industrial aspect. We are seeing a big push for investment into the ecosystem of startups and entrepreneurial networks that would push for bringing those technology to markets faster than what we are seeing at the moment. So I'm sure you've heard of Dubai pushing for digital assets and being the ecosystem for building the global, or maybe the global test hub to for building digital assets, industry. So we have amazing clusters of crypto exchanges that are relocated to UAE, as well as new digital assets components that are focused on the Web3 kind of development in the region, NFTs, and I would say stable assets in general.
Yeah, it's interesting. I always say that UAE will be somehow the not just the hub, maybe the capital of digital assets in the future, because that's where it's trying to position itself globally. We have the first regulated authority, which is VARA, and now we have more and more central banks are playing role. We have Rakdao that last month just opened its own also. So we're seeing much more from the world, whereas there's a lot of activities happening, a lot of regulation. I think also the deadlines that were issued by VARA for everyone to regulate last month, by the end of last month. So that pushed more companies to be regulated and get approval. It's very interesting to see this on a global market.
Yeah, and we've seen as well ADGM, for example, Abu Dhabi Global Markets trying to catch up and building their own kind of fund-to-fund structures for digital and crypto assets as well. So we see a push for not just the funding structure to exist, but the regulation to exist, where this would build a testing hub, a global testing hub for these technologies. And I think UAE were like from the get-go, were quite pioneering in that. I mean, I still remember the first solar airplane that came and got tested here in UAE, and as well the first 3D printed, building that got tested here in UAE. So maybe this is going to be centered as the testing hub for new global technologies across the board,
Yeah.
especially coming from the emerging sector.
And that brings me to my question. What has contributed to this UAE to position itself as a leader in the global markets? What do you think? What strategies has supported this growth, or actually is supporting this growth?
I think there is a lot of flexibility when it comes to understanding the necessity of bringing innovation to market, and UAE is allowing you to have that kind of flexible margins of innovation, especially when it requires less rigid uh, ecosystem, adaptable regulations, quick access to global markets, and at the same time, quick access to funds. So UAE is doing its best in terms of building these kind of global bilateral, multilateral trade treaties, at the same time attracting FDIs when it comes to funding, and establish a very resilient and as well flexible regulation ecosystem that is modern and adaptable to the new technology, that doesn't aim to stifle the technology but aims to be providing a stable environment for the technology to exist. As well, that ability to come and find a global talent here, like you have 120 plus nationalities in UAE that are centered on different ecosystems, so it gets easier to just be in this kind of global development house. And hopefully we can keep on building on that and keep on getting through the challenges, because it's not a perfect story. You are on the journey of building for that kind of attractive emerging technology development hub or investment hub, you would find yourself facing hurdles, but it's about how you are facing these challenges and maybe building collective efforts in between different players in order to make space, an inclusive space for everybody to be part of this movement.
Indeed. And I will jump now. You've been active in the space of women, supporting women. How can this technologies, and what do you think strategies are needed to really support them, especially now the emerging technology and the growth and the global expansion of those? What initiatives, what building on initiative for this, so that we can really empower women, especially in tech, because we do need more women in tech.
Thank you, Rudy, for this question. I think before answering that, I would like to share a few, centering facts here. We live in an ecosystem where half of the globe is women. However, when it comes to gender parity, when it comes to equal access to opportunity, equal access to rewards, women are not, in there for that. Unfortunately, we're still having this kind of global gap that states that women are still suffering from the parity gap that would be closed by, according to the UN. I think the years are keep on being shifted in between 300 years to 108 years. I read multiple reports. The UN Women report that was, pushed last March. And as well, when you look at the global pool of illiterate populations globally, which is around 795 million people, the majority of those, 485 or 87 million, are women. And so they're always falling amidst the vulnerable group when it comes to areas, general areas around the world, but also specifically areas of conflict and lack of resources. And when we wanted to study the impact of immersing women in trade or immersing women in fields of STEAM, science, technology, engineering, and arts and math, the also the UN reporting shows that educating women within this field can equate to adding a global GDP efficiency of plus 28 trillion US dollars by 2030. That's higher than the anticipated efficiencies that would go towards AI technology, which was estimated around 15.7 trillion dollars. So we need today to put more effort into making sure that women get access to resources, get access to education, get access to funding, get access to opportunity, because if they do get that access, then they translate it into building an equitable ecosystem of opportunity for others, for children, and for men and the other vulnerable groups across the map as well. Um, this is the first kind of thesis that we started with when we built multiple efforts for women here on the ground. So I was lucky enough to work with teams. And I emphasize on the fact that this is not a solo effort. This is a civic society effort. It's an effort of, it's a non-for-profit as well effort that we built around volunteers who came across with passion. We have established Emirates Digital Association for Women, which works diligently on the ground to build opportunities for women, children, and the wider society of men who need access to those empowering pathways, either in their education journey or in their wider journey, a professional journey, to new jobs opportunity, mentorship, championship kind of access. So we can fix the pipeline. So we can make sure that women empowerment opportunities, and they don't need empowerment, but they need a platform and resource that can elevate them, would exist from young ages until the board roles that they could eventually take down the line. I mean, I come from UAE, 70% to 60%. I was used to 70 to 60% of representation of the pool of women in STEM domains, especially at a university level, being actually women. But when I try to get access uh, to the same opportunities with an international pool, I noticed that it's only around 12% in certain regions, to 20% in other regions, to sometimes 1% if you go to PhD specialization within specific sectors like crypto, for example. So I got to understand that we have a very unique fabric from this region that supports women, and we need to make sure that that translates into a learning lesson and story that we could also uh, build a constructive solution around globally. So we started building these kind of collective group across regions, like Women in Computing Network, and as well the Arab Women in Computing Network, the Arab Women in Science Network, and Women in AI Network, to improve the numbers of women in different niche fields, and as well to get access to experts globally, coming from the big tech companies, coming from the big SP 500 companies, that would be able to come and mentor women, either in the boardroom or in the CEO kind of projects access, or within the different development layer that existed. We established the first digital child program that was endorsed here in UAE. I remember in 2014, 2015, and 2016, where it was around robotics development for the ages of 10 to the ages of 14. And later on, with برنامج موهبتنا from صندوق الوطن, we've been able to establish this amazing niche program that focuses on mathematical modeling, space sciences, cryptography, hardware cryptography, where we taught kids hardware crypto development, VHGL design, C++ designs for these crypto primitives that normally PhD students will learn, but kids at the age of sometimes 7, 10, and 14 got access to those opportunity to develop and co-develop these technology, to mentor each other and get to learn how to do those things. We also provided access for women to different boards positions, to different board experiences, and would love to see more of this happening in the future, inshallah. So it doesn't take just an effort of a single person, it takes an effort of community and society. Sometimes you need, of course, to have champions, and today champions are much more important than mentors, in my opinion, because champions, they take that kind of role in an active stride, and they make sure that they build resources around you, and they make sure that there are opportunities that are being there on the ground. What do we need to do for this to be fixed? Or the issues of participation of women actively within trade, within economic development kind of projects, and within STEAM field to be validated in a wider range. We need to have that kind of a global access hub for women opportunities, for women resources, so that those barriers can fall apart. And I think women for women kind of projects are important, or global projects for women are important, because if we just waited for the systematic fix to happen, we would be waiting for 300 years plus. But if we worked collectively in building these kind of, I would say, resources hub for women, we might stand to fix these problems faster than we are anticipated. I'm going to give you an example. The Alan Turing Institute have issued a report in October this year saying that out of the pool of entrepreneurs that they have, the all male founders AI startup will get 80% support, while the woman all female startups will get only 0.3% of the support for their startups, which is a drastic difference. We need today to make sure that the there is an equal or equitable access to resources for women, not just for education or for mentorship or for employability aspects for junior roles or senior roles, but also for the funding and entrepreneurial accessibility, because of the we give them venues for better economic prospects, then they stand to develop healthier communities and stronger communities for
And
themselves
that
and others.
and that drives me into the second part, which is how can we empower them, with the educational background that you have. How can education institutions best prepare their students, was it women or the future leaders on both sides, I would say, and then helping the UAE workforce for this rapidly evolving tech landscape, especially now what's happening. And then we are living, I think, today in a huge explosion of those emerging technologies. So, what's your take regarding educational institutions and their role?
When it comes to knowledge development and skill set development and emerging technology, it's a global issue today. I think it's not just a global concern and a global priority to try to reshape our understanding of knowledge. First of all, knowledge should not be just developed in universities. So we should seek to develop these kind of knowledge hubs that would help diffuse information and between cross generational knowledge between different generations. يعني we need the seniors, established professional people to talk to the young entrepreneurs, to talk to the young teens, and sometimes to children, and to have these kind of youthful conversations around technologies. We need to have, of course, dedicated tracks of knowledge within universities for different fields that are being developed. But let's not forget that emerging technologies also goes in waves of trends. And we need to be mindful not to push people into careers that are clustered onto those trends, because trends have a short lifetime or lifespan of existing. And after this lifespan of existence, you will be in a risk that you will graduate and not just find an opportunity in the market, because the market is being saturated. So I would advise most of the people who are hitting this field or any field of emerging technology to start with foundational sciences, so foundational engineering fields that are combined with economic financial knowledge. Those are majors and minors that connects the opposites, that connect the scholarly disciplines that exist in between art, science, and engineering are very important today. It pushes us to go through the scholarly routes that the previous scholars, scientists have taken into life. I think no one came to Leonardo da Vinci and told him, I'm sorry, you are supposed to just focus on physics because you're specialized in physics, or you're supposed to focus on mechanics because you're specialized in mechanics, or you're supposed to specialize in arts because you are good in arts. I think we need to realize today that the lifespan of a human being is 79 years old. And within 79 years old, on average, you can take over 14 degrees or whatever it is. So why you have to put your life investment in one disciplinary focus if you can have that kind of 360 knowledge that would help you do better? Start with a good foundation of arts, science, and economy, and use that foundation to build proper knowledge. This is my advice to the wider audience, of course, and never stop learning until whatever, until you're 80 or until you're 100. Keep on being flexible for that learning journey. But also, my advice to the governments and to the institutions that are building, the academic institutions that are building these programs and these skill sets, they need to realize that education does not just exist within universities or research labs or industrial labs. It's actually the combination of everything. So we need to make sure that we build these pathways that cross different, spectrums in industry and in academia and government. And as well, we need to build proper responsible focuses of sciences and technology to make sure that uh, that yes, people will have that kind of very specialized knowledge within a specific field, but at the same time they would be employable in the future. They would find opportunities. They would be able to contribute to building these technologies to the best that they can. And also, we need to use knowledge for something. So we need to have access to research and development. What are we using this knowledge for? So making sure that we build that kind of experimentation knowledge where you can try things for yourself. You can build upon the knowledge that you have established and build prototypes, build chaotic experiences and in new applications that would change the landscape of science or the landscape of opportunity that exists in the world is something that we need to also, put in the ground when we are thinking of knowledge development.
Thank you. I think your take on education is quite exquisite and different from many of the people that I have really open discussion with, because yours is more of a 360. It's not just directed one place. And I love the last part, which is the testing or the failing part, I would call it, because we need to also educate them that failure is okay, not just well, we don't always do it from the first time, but maybe alternate, learn quick, fail fast, and learn quick. And that brings me again to all of this background and insights. I would love to hear more about the role of technology and innovation, especially that UAE has the Technology Innovation Institute, which has brought Falcon, different versions of Falcon, and most known one is 180B. How is this shaping the world, and what are the things that we need to do so that they can have more of those innovations, I would say global innovations?
That's a great question, Rudy. I think under the ATRC the National Research Council in Abu Dhabi and in UAE in general, I think we've seen a wave of investment in R&Ds. Not just now. I mean, since 2005, we're seeing that. We're seeing that with the with the establishment of Mohammed bin Rashid Research Center for Science and Technology, that later on was responsible for the development of space sciences in UAE, and also with the space agency in UAE, of course. We've seen it in UAE investing in industries that are based on research and technology and research and development within their satellite programming, within the communication systems, within many other industries, stem cell research at the moment, and with TII, which is also one of the uh, innovation hubs that are changing the world globally, not just in UAE, because they're working on critical global collaborations with critical global leading centers globally. We've seen UAE building a leading research center that aims to build advanced research and innovation and knowledge transfers in various fields of science and technology. That includes AI, as you said, but just not just that, because they're focusing on cutting edge research projects, attracting top researchers and experts from around the world, and collaborating with different partners to build knowledge related to quantum computing, security, autonomous systems, and many others kind of fields that are clustered in over I would say 12 centers of research that existed within TII. But we don't just have TII as a cluster of R&D hub. I will take a focus on, for example, AOS. Sheikh Sultan Al-Qasimi as well invested over 1 billion AD to make sure that AOS is being constructed around an innovation hub that would be building for new technologies. The same thing I see in universities and investment in building research labs and research centers in universities like Khalifa universities and their biomedical centers, Khalifa universities and their foundries and their other centers around hardware development, and UAE University and their science park that are being built around space technologies. We're seeing in NYU Abu Dhabi and there are over 20 centers of advanced research, a core center of excellence of research as well on research around sea rising you know, investigation, research around humanities, research around cybersecurity, around multiple other venues. We can see with TII and other kind of Mohammed bin Zayed as well, University in UAE is building their own research around AI. As you just mentioned, Falcon was the product of TII, but also Mohammed bin Zayed University have pushed for Gs to be part of one of the LLMs, Arabic LLMs that are being pushed to market. Now, with all of these research centers that are being built around us, we are building for the science, for the foundation of the work to happen. But we also want to build for the appetite of prototyping technology, commercializing this technology, pushing it to market. And as you have said, it's okay to fail. It's okay for us to fail and then succeed again. But we need to have that kind of persistence that's built around. This is something that I would borrow of one of my colleagues that I've heard him talk about it today. Is like that is built around genuine delivery, genuine, authentic delivery, and not a bluffed kind of version of reality. So I think this is very important, and I hope that we can, in the future as well, support independent research centers and independent development hubs of these technologies.
Yeah, very interesting take. Thank you for that. It's like we need more of those innovations. And I move now, your involvement in cybersecurity and I would say ethics also, because that's the part related to safeguarding everyone. What's your take on the world of what's happening now, considering ethics of AI? Um, any way to address them on a global scale or local scale, noting that there's some talks more now on this topic?
So Rudy, I think the AI ethics kind of conversation started early on in the days. I think, AI is not just a new topic. It's something that started in the 50s and in the 70s as well. And we're picking up on a field of science that existed way back then. And the conversation we're having right now, funny enough, existed as well in the 50s. The difference right now is that we're trying to build a global structure and governance framework around it. At the OECD, for example, I think in 2017 issued their own ethical AI guideline where they said AI development should be centered around transparency, explainability, accountability, and other aspects as well. We have today over 800 policies. Also, if you check the OECD AI indicators or AI global trackers, you will find that them, identifying 800 AI policies. Out of these 800 AI policies, 200 of them are focused on ethical development of this technology. So the ethical consideration of AI development are crucial to make sure that AI systems are fair, transparent, accountable, and respectful to human rights and values. Because we don't want to live in a world like what we're seeing at the moment, that is filled with polarization, using technology as a means and weapons to attack individuals or to attack human rights, or to add a level of misinformation through what we're seeing on deep fakes, as well as others as well. So, I mean, we got into a debate recently with a colleague of mine where she said that actually AI is not contributing to any kind of misinformation or deepfake, and stand to correct that information and say, no, actually, we have seen in the past AI systems that are being used to push for campaigns of misinformation or push for analytical systems that are going to analyze the pool of opinion of the people and use that kind of analytical results to polarize opinions of people that could be affecting, for example, election campaigns, as what happened in the US, or could affect opinions of people, general public, on certain norms and certain examples. Now, we are also talking about the metaverse and how this metaverse should be also building up for that kind of virtual identity of a persona, a human, that's me and you. And at the end, we will be able to tokenize the world around us and monetize everything and every aspect of it, including our private data, uh, and make an income out of it. But the aspects as well is that technology could extract as much information from you on a social level, on a biological level, and use that information possibly in the future against you, and to build analytical information about you way before you can do that. So some of the ways that this need to be addressed is to build in considerations of ethical conduct, of responsible development of technology, to make sure that these principles and guidelines for AI designs are paramount for this technology. Today we have debuggers for piece of code that you would be developing as a developer, and you will not be allowed to publish your code or to use your technology if it's faulty, if it's non-functional. But also we should have a debugger that's ethical, which will not allow you to publish your piece of technology if it's not ethical and if it's not responsible. So the
By
concept of that,
design, by design.
we, exactly. I mean, like we also need the checks and measures and balances to be in place to make sure that all the inclusive stakeholders within the process of technology development, starting from the developers, starting from the CEOs of those companies to the users, to have that kind of visibility of what is being served to me. If I'm right now using a piece of technology on social media, for example, or on this platform that we're using today, if things are going to be used, or input would be used to polarize opinion, or build a deep fake, or build whatever system, then I should be aware of that, and I should be able to pick and choose if I should use this technology or not. So the sense of auditing and monitoring all of AI systems, and educating users and developers of the potential high risks that they're putting others within is very important. Yeah, so it's the conversation around this is really multifaceted and deep, and we can go on and on about what are we missing when we are not addressing ethics and responsible development.
Thank you. And due to the time factor, I don't want to take this over. Um, I just want your last advice to our viewers. We've talked on different points and different axes of how emerging technology is really an important factor. We talked about women, we talked about ethics, we talked about the roles of education in general, and innovation. What's the last message you would like to portray to the people or to the viewers, and maybe to the government, or maybe even to venture capitals? What's your last advice?
So, when it comes to emerging technology, my advice would be to stay curious, stay informed, knowledgeable, and build your own responsible, you know, I would say, role on the process of this technology development. Also, take things with a grain of salt. And of transformation that are coming our way for government industries, I think we need to stand collectively on disrupting the current paradigm of technology development and our understanding of tech sovereignty. Because today, the users or the end parties have a lot to say about how those technologies should be developed, and we should give them a voice on co-developing these technologies with us. As well, we should understand that tech development today and tech investments are paramount, and they're changing the landscape of investments globally and the landscape of building economic values on different communities and societies. And we need to unlock that and help by building new financial systems and financial institutions that would help in unlocking the potentials of the technology.
Thank you. I think it's really crucial to stay valid. That's, I think, the most important message, because we're today being challenged by machines, by autonomous stuff, where if you're not valid, we're gonna be challenged. And this is my personal message, I would say, in light of what's happening globally. So stay updated, keep yourself in the space. Don't go out of, because this is very fast. It's happening super fast, and then we need to focus on the space so that we can really try to innovate and bring our society, because technology is there to serve humanity, not the other way around.
100%. 100%.
So with that, Dr. Huda, I'd really like to thank you for being our guest today and sharing your insights. Big thanks to our viewers as well for tuning in. You can watch the recording of this episode on YouTube video channels, and all of the podcasts. Also, you can hear it, so it's very interesting. Thank you. Until next time, please stay tuned and always be informed and get your information updated. Dr. Huda, thank you for being with us. Thank you for sharing the values that you have with us, and then most importantly, keep on innovating for the future and empowering more and more women.
Thank you, Rudy. Absolute pleasure. All the best.